So we have 4 attacks with our regular action, 2 with our bonus action, and when you get action surge at level 12, you can also get another 2 attacks, so it's 8 attacks per turn, consistently with very high armor class, very good defensive capabilities at very high dexterity saving throws, and pretty much one of the strongest classes you could play in terms of defense. Hello guys, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Van Helsing Bard. This is going to be a very fun build to play, and let's get straight to the creation and let's go to the Excel. Remember, if you enjoy the content, drop a like guys. At 500 likes we'll do the Ranger variant of this build. So let's get to it. So what is the whole theme of this build? What are we actually trying to do? We want to be maximizing our damage with light crossbows. We want to be taking the sharpshooter feat, and we're going to be using that to do a lot of damage while having magic at our disposal, while being good at being the main character, lots of dialogue options and proficiencies, and a lot of attacks and lots of spells, and it's going to be one of my favorite builds to play as the main character. So let's get straight to it. So first of all, you could play this build with either a drow or a gnome would be the optimal choices. Drow allows you the option to not have to start out as a rogue or a fighter, because you're going to get the hand crossbow proficiency from the beginning of the game. Gnome is very good because it has a superior dark vision, it has the wisdom, charisma, and intelligence advantage on saving throws. So definitely a good option there. We take 3 levels rogue, 6 levels bard, 2 levels fighter, and 1 level wizard. So let's get with the build. Van Helsing Bard. I like picking Halsin for this choice because Halsin, you know. We're going to be putting 17 points in dexterity, 14 points in constitution, and we also want to be putting 15 points in our charisma. Then you have 2 additional points to either put on wisdom, intelligence, or strength. I would rather go for wisdom, and then let's look at our proficiencies. There's a lot of things you want to be going for. I would definitely pick expertise in sleight of hand, acrobatics, proficiency, deception proficiency, persuasion proficiency, and then you can choose one of those to be an expert in. You could also go for perception. As a main character, you get a lot of perception checks, you get a lot of persuasion checks, so it's really up to you. Acrobatics is the one that's going to be the most helpful in combat, just so you know. So we started out our first level as a rogue. The reason we do that is that we get proficiency with hand crossbows from level 1, and rogues will give us the extra attack as soon as possible. So right now at level 1 we actually have 2 attacks if we can find 2 dual crossbows. You can find them at the Druid's Grove. There is a vendor there that sells hand crossbows, and you're going to be finding a lot of them in the game. So let's level up. So at level 2, you get your cunning action hide, you get the cunning action dash, and cunning action disengage. You're not going to be using these often because since you are dual wielding, you can actually do bonus attacks with your offhand weapon. So at level 3, you get fast hands, which gives you an additional bonus action, which is amazing. This is the reason why we went for 3 levels rogue. So you make sure to pick the thief subclass. And you also get second story work, which gives you resistance to falling damage. Useful, not too great. You could give up on the wizard or fighter levels and get a 4th level of rogue here just to get the ability score increase. If I was doing it, if I was level 5, I would definitely be picking sharpshooter at this point, or level 4. And then down the line I would probably respec when I would be getting my extra tag at bard with bard levels. So definitely consider picking sharpshooter here and then changing your class again down the line. But let's continue with the build as we have it written. At level 4, you're going to be getting a bard level. Some really cool spells to get are friends. Vicious Mockery is fun to play.
Look here! You very brain to feed a lass.
To play as. Mage Hand is also very good spell to have. Minor Illusion is very useful if you're a thief. Lead can also be useful in this game. However, I would definitely pick Friends, Mage Hand, Vicious Mockery for fun, and Minor Illusion if I wanted to try hard, really big try hard in the campaign. For Bard spells, definitely pick Healing Word. Is an amazing spell that you could use at any time in the game to bring up a party member. You have 2 bonus actions, guys, so you can actually bring up your entire party with your bonus actions. I would consider Fairy Fire as it gives advantage. It is a dexterity save, so most of the enemies will make this save quite easily. Thunder Wave, amazing for pushing your enemies off cliffs. Featherfall if nobody else has it in your party. Or alternatively, you could go Speak with Animals since this can be a main character. Or Sleep to set your enemies to sleep and get the advantage. Also, Charm Person, again, if you're the main party member, you can also go for Speak with Animals to be able to get that additional conversation. Pick whichever instrument you like, guys. It's up to you. Let's go with Flute this time. And you also get a skill proficiency, which you can get to choose between any skill you like. I would definitely go for charisma-based skill or insight at this point, because insight is very useful if you're the main character. So intimidation or performance as a bard, always good. At bard level 2, you get Jack of all trades, which essentially allows you to add your proficiency bonus to all ability checks that you're not proficient in. So even in the abilities that you're not proficient in, you're gonna be all right at them. So this is actually very good. It's rounded down, so you're not going to be getting a lot of value from it. You're only going to be getting +1 until level 9 or 8, where your proficiency changes to +4. So still, not bad. And Song of Rest is very good. You and your allies are revitalized as though you would have taken a short rest. This is a very cool skill to have for your party, especially if you have Warlocks in it, by the way. And yeah, again, pick one of the spells we talked earlier. Even Dissonant Whispers is a good spell. It's a wisdom save, it frightens your enemies, it takes 1 action, it does okay damage. And at this point of the game, using your action to cast a spell since you only have 1 attack is actually not a bad idea. So let's just take a look at how combat would look like in this situation. So you have 1 action and 2 bonus actions, but you have no extra attack. So you would be able to just cast a spell as an action, whether that's Magic Missile, whether that's Dissonant Whispers. He saved, so he got no damage, but then you do 2 bonus actions of actually shooting your enemy. And if you have Sharpshooter, you should know that there is some sort of bug where the proficiency, the reduction doesn't actually occur in your offhand attacks, the -5, so it's actually really good to be starting out with extra attacks with your bonus action. Okay. At level 6, so Bard level 3, you're gonna be getting a choice between different schools. You wanna go for College of Swords. Why do we wanna do this? Because there is this ability called Defensive Flourish, which whenever you use this maneuver, apart from doing additional damage with your weapon attack, you get to add 4 to your armor class. So this will help us a lot with boosting our armor class big time. So definitely a good pick. Definitely the best pick, and this is the reason why we're going Bard. So definitely go for College of Swords. And then for spells, you can choose between any level 2 spell that you like. I definitely adore Enhance ability. It gives you advantage on whichever ability you use it for. You could also choose Invisibility, Hit Metal, Knock to unlock things, but you're very proficient on lockpicking at this point, so I would rather get Enhance ability and maybe Invisibility or Hold Person down the line. For fighting style, unfortunately, there is nothing that really helps us at this point. Dueling, if you used to equip a rapier, you can definitely be using a rapier. You're going to be proficient with them. Or you can also go for using for 2-weapon fighting. And this would also work very well with you holding on to dual daggers. Going for dual daggers also works. Make sure to put the strong weapon on your offhand at this point in the game, because you have more offhand attacks than actual action attacks. So let me just show you what I mean. You see, we also have an additional bonus action stab at this point of the game, which you could also do. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So if you use your good weapon for the offhand attack, the one that glows, is going to be used in the offhand attack. Now, let's continue with our leveling. At level 4 Bard, we get an additional cantrip. At this point, if you don't have Mage Hand, you should be picking it. It's very useful. You can cast your action, and it can throw something with its action, and essentially you get an extra action every turn. Throw. Very useful to have. It's not concentration, but it's only once per short rest. Again, if you don't have invisibility at this point, I'll consider it. Cloud of Daggers is it's a very strong AoE spell, and it's persistent, and I always love this spell when I'm playing in the early game. Then definitely you have to be picking Sharpshooter at this point in the game. Please note that when you're using Sharpshooter with your offhand weapon, the -5 penalty to the attack roll doesn't actually take effect, but the damage is added. So it's very useful when you're doing bonus action attacks with your crossbows. Maybe a bug, but it's a good bug. We're going to be abusing it. At level 5, you're gonna be getting Font of Inspiration, so you regain all your Bardic Inspiration die on the short rest. So now you can actually use your Defensive Flourish ability that you got on level 3. You can use it every short rest instead of every long rest. Now, additionally, the Bardic Inspiration die increased to 1d8. You don't want to be using it for that though. For spells at this point, there's a lot of good options. Don't go for Speak with Death, you can just get the Amulet. Stinking Cloud is alright. Hypnotic Pattern would be my go-to spell here. It's probably the strongest spell for bards. It's an AoE spell that can take out of commission many enemies while you kill the rest that are not sleeping, and then you go back and then you can just finish off the ones that are sleeping. Then I would also consider replacing one of my previous spells, like the one that I don't really use the most. Let's say that I don't use Invisibility a lot. And probably taking Fear or Glyph of Warding. Glyph of Warding is some good AoE. It takes only your action, and you are also going to be able to do 2 attacks while you cast it. Fear is also an amazing spell to have. Your enemies also drop their weapons whenever they do that. They are disarmed when they fail their saving throws, and they start running away. It's again very strong, very useful. Definitely a very good crowd control effect, especially if you're close to your enemies. I've been on the receiving end of it. It doesn't feel good. At level 6, you get Counter Charm, which is probably not a very useful ability to have. You're probably never going to use this in the campaign. And then you also get your extra attack. This is important, as now we're going to be able to do 4 attacks every turn instead of 3. Then additionally you get another spell. Probably I would pick Glyph of Warding. You don't really need to change any of your other spells, but feel free to do so if you don't like one of your spells. Okay, now we've reached level 9. We got all the levels of Bard that we want. Let's look back at the Excel sheet so that we can see what's going on. So at this point, you have 2 levels of Fighter and 1 level 2 Wizard to pick. I prefer going for the Wizard level first, because that will give you the option, and I'll show you what I mean. It will give you the option to learn spells from scrolls, and it will also give you the option to learn some spells. I would definitely be picking Shield as a spell. It's a very strong reaction spell. I cannot begin to emphasize why Shield is probably one of the strongest abilities you can have. As you already know, we're going to be using our attacks to boost our armor class. So if we can also boost our armor class from the shield spell, and we are also a rogue, so we have proficiency with dexterity saves, it's very hard for our enemies to actually do damage to us, because most of the attacks we can our armor class is too high for them, so we are only going to be hit by enemy crits, and by the enemy AoE we're going to be very good at saving against those. So it's going to be hard for the enemies to hit us. And other than shield, I would definitely consider Find Familiar at this point, because you can use it to get advantage for your sneak die, to procure your sneak die. Grease is a good control spell. It's just throw it down on the battlefield and enemies sleep on it, so you can use it to make them sleep and lose their turn. Featherfold, if you don't already have it, it's a good option. You're not going to have it prepared, but when you need it, it's a very good fallback method. Enhanced Sleep, also useful. Long Strider, it's a ritual, so it doesn't even take a spell slot, so why not? Again, Protect Evil and Good might be a good concentration spell to have. Tasha's Leaf, Hideous Laughter is It's also good, but we don't want to be picking things where they require a save DC because our intelligence is quite low. You could equip the handbag of intellect and just be able to prepare more spells, but right now you're only going to be able to prepare one. So how it would normally work, you would prepare Find Familiar, use it, and then unprepare it and have shield prepared for when you go to combat. So let's just keep. Also, Magic Missiles is a good spell if you ever have to ensure that your damage lands and your enemy has 1 HP. Then for cantrips, so I would be picking Light and probably Blade Ward at this point. It's better than the rest, the other options. Right, now at level 11, you want to be taking a level in Fighter. That's going to give you a fighting style, which you can use for archery, increase your chance to hit. And then at level 12, you pick another level in Fighter to get your action surge. I'm only level 11, so I can't show that, but you only get an action surge. Now, let's see. Why did we pick the level in Wizard, right? So right now we can press K, go to our Wizard taskbar. If you want to, you can put on a Circlet of Intelligence, Headband of Intellect, and increase your intelligence, and you're going to be able to prepare more spells. So we have 4th level spell slots because we're 1 level Wizard and 6 level bards, 6 levels of bard. So we're actually able to learn spells from scrolls. So at this point of the game, I would definitely want to know Haste. So you're gonna find a Haste scroll, pay 150 gold to learn it, and now you can have spells from the Wizard spell list that were not in your spell list. So which other spell would be good? Gaseous Form if you want to be traveling into narrow positions. Ice Storm for crowd control, invisibility if you didn't get a chance to learn it earlier. Lightning Bolt for some AoE. As you can tell, Mirror Image to boost your defensive capabilities. There's so many good spells on the Wizard spell list, and just getting 1 level will give you so many options. Wall of Fire, again, one of my most favorite spells in the game. So you can learn everything and then just cast it. So just make sure you always have shield prepared. Now, guys, alternatively, if you want to dump your dexterity and equip the claws of dexterity, if you're not using them with another party member, that also works, and then you can put the other points in intelligence, right? So also works, also very good. So into combat, we want to be casting haste on ourselves. So let's find a spell haste. That's a preparation round. Maybe even do a mirror image. So now there's 4 of you, and it's gonna be harder for you to be hit. You could wear actually a much better armor like the Yuan-Ti scale, even boost your armor class to 33. Yeah, we start our turn, we have mirror image out. So that gives us +9 armor class. Then we also have +4 from our dexterity, +1 from our Gleam Dagger. We get +2 from our haste, +9 from our mirror images, +1 from our Cloak of Protection, +1 from our invasive shoes, and we can also use our defensive flourish to increase it to 37. Wait, note you can also put on a shield and increase your armor class even further. So like right now for my character who has what +9 but it's actually +13 to hit, needs to roll like only a critical can land on us right now. But even if we lose our mirror images, so if we get hit by an AoE spell like a fireball, that's gonna take them away. It didn't? It doesn't? Wow, that's broken. So even fireball does not break our armor class. Like, yeah, we took a little bit of damage, but as you can see, it's very hard for us to fail dexterity saving throws. We rolled a 27 combination. We have 37 armor class, and we can take it even up to 42 with the reaction of shield. So very strong. But also, we're not just that. We also have a lot of damage because we have a lot of attacks. As you can see, that dealt 19 damage. And even if we had our Find Familiar out, we could we could offhand shoot, yeah, a very high chance to hit. So we have 4 attacks with our regular action, 2 with our bonus action, and when you get action surge at level 12, you can also get another 2 attacks, so it's 8 attacks per turn, consistently with very high armor class, very good defensive capabilities at very high dexterity saving throws, and pretty much one of the strongest classes you could play in terms of defense. A little bit worse than the paladin, but very, very, very strong. So this is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this build. Let me know if you enjoyed the content. Drop a comment below, subscribe, like. Just know that liking and subscribing and commenting is actually very useful, and it helps me make out and put out these videos and spend time on it, and it motivates me and it helps with the algorithm and promote the channel. And thanks everyone for being here. I really appreciate everything, and I'll see you in the next one.